Good evening. I am your host, Scorpio, who are watching Kickstarter Connect. Good evening, everyone. It is Scorpio Chronicles, and today is February 9th, 2021, the first show of Kickstarter Connection. I am so happy to be a part of this and be able to do this. This is the show where we introduce the creators, the comic books, and the team that is behind them. Speaking of industry comic creators, have you ever looked at indiecomicsdispatch.com where you see all the indie comic reviews and the up and coming independent comics? Go ahead and stroll over there and take a look at that while you support us. Please do support our Patreon, which if you get at 10 backers, I am forced to play a game of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go with the show. Our guest is Burlap Comics, Mr. Jesse. Jesse, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I am glad to have you on tonight. I want to go ahead and congratulate you for that fourth unlock. So
Yes.
when I got the message on Instagram, when I saw your Instagram that says you're only like 6 or 4 people away, I immediately took it and shot it out to everyone to take a look. And the next thing I know, it was unlocked. I said, "Oh, see, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing." So I am glad. Congratulations on that. You have 2 more days. Am I correct?
We got 2 days. So technically, at 12:30 this afternoon, it marked 2 days. So now we're a little under 2 days, and at exactly 12:30 tomorrow, we will have 1 day left. So we're right at the end.
So 1 day left. We got 500 more to get to the 6,000, so we can unlock that mystery. Which are we gonna take a little?
Yeah, actually, if you want to start off with that, I would love to. No problem.
All right, so we're gonna start off. What we're gonna do is once like it's my comic. Once Jesse hits the $6,000 mark, the mystery unlock is going to be.
It's going to be the. This has actually kind of been a theme with each Covenant Kickstarter, where we do a Covenant Universe trading card.
Oh, wow.
So with the last Crossbones Kickstarter and the last Ether Kickstarter, they each released as one of their stretch goals a exclusive Kickstarter trading card of each of their characters with stats, trivia, the whole nine. So JD Gonzalez and I have been working on that today since we unlocked the $5,500 stretch goal. So we will have that to reveal, the graphic and everything like that, probably later tonight or tomorrow morning.
Oh, awesome! That is going to be awesome. That would be a nice keep to have, because that's a big thing now. People are coming back with the Marvel cards and the Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that independent creators are doing that same thing.
Yeah. Very excited.
Connected. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So we're just going to go ahead and get right to it. So, of course, welcome to Kickstarter Connections. Thank you for being my first guest.
Well, thank you for having me. It was really exciting when Brett and yourself came to me and asked me about this show, and I was immediately like, of course, I'd love to.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Not a problem. So, if you can, just go ahead and tell us just a little bit about yourself and how you became a comic book creator.
Sure. So I've been writing comics for the past 2 years now. Mm-hmm. Originally, I've been writing my whole life. That's always been my passion since I was a little kid. When I was little, I actually had an old Smith typewriter that I would have at my kitchen table. And I drove my family nuts because all they heard all day was clack, 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 clack. Yeah. Even when I was 10 years old, I thought I was Stephen King. And I've been writing my whole life. I would write short stories. I attempted a dozen novels from elementary school all the way through high school. I don't think I ever finished a single one because novels are very intimidating. But I started writing. I was very much also into theater. I loved Broadway, and I loved my grandparents had been taking me to shows since I was a little kid. And so I started writing my own plays, and me and my cousins on holidays and my brothers would act out these plays for our family. And I loved doing that. And then that evolved into me writing screenplays for film. And that became my passion, where I wanted to be a filmmaker. It's what I went to college for. I went to Bucks County Community College, and then I went to Temple University for cinema video production. My degree is in the arts, specifically in film production, and I loved it. I actually was acting since I was 5 years old. I was I was Chip the Teacup in Beauty and the Beast when I was 5 years old.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, it was a production company in New Jersey. I think it was called Kids in Production. And instead of my parents enrolling me in sports, they enrolled me in that, and that just kind of is where all the creativity and all that fun stuff I love to do came from. And so, I acted in a lot of like student films. I did a couple of indies, and I was writing and directing and producing. And then over the years, it just became a lot, especially becoming a father and a husband. To find the time, the money, and the means to make these movies happen was getting harder and harder. And I took a long break from it. And eventually I decided to kind of get back into it with a little short film, nothing crazy, just something for fun. And it was what became Burlap issue 1. And it was essentially just a short film. Probably would have been maybe 10, 20 minutes long, which had the title hero, Drayton, against the villains, the Cottontail and Bones and Chuckles and all that.
Look, let me tell you something. I have never looked at the Easter Bunny differently.
Oh yeah.
I got an opportunity to read 1 and 2, and I'm finishing off 3 and 4. And it's like now when I look at the Easter Bunny, I'm gonna do a second.
And I will probably read Easter Bunny for
yes, it is.
currently in the future. I'm sure Easter will take on a whole new meaning.
Oh yes, it will.
But yeah, so like I said, making the film, trying to make that film, the Burlap film, which was something titled, it was completely different in the beginning, and then it kind of evolved into that. But we just had the worst luck. I had actors, professional actors that were hired, that in 1 week, like 2 of them were injured in separate accidents and unable to do the roles. And then another booked a gig in Ecuador, which had him gone for months. We lost our location because they demoed it. It was an abandoned train station, which, if you've read Burlap issue 1, like you said, the train station is a very big part of that book. And it was perfect. And then they decided, oh, we're going to level this thing and start from scratch. So that was gone. And it was just one thing after the other. And I was really losing faith in the project. And it was March of, I guess March of 2018 or 2019. And I went to Monster Mania convention in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where I was just going table to table, checking out, everybody's stuff, the vendors. And I came across a hero of mine, which was Buzz Hassan and the Corpse Crew, who do the Living Corpse comic that's been around for years. And I was so excited because, I had this deep love for comics. And so I went to the table, I started chit-chatting with them, and I actually showed them like art I had done for the poster for the Burlap movie, and told them a little bit about it. And the Buzz said to me, he's like, oh, hey, if you ever want, more artwork done for your films or concept art, here's my card, let me know. So I had the idea for the Burlap mask to be introduced. This guy.
Which I'm highly upset. I want
yeah, those 5 sold out quick.
I wanted one of those, and I was like, it sold out. I was like, are you kidding me?
Trust me, there will be many more opportunities to get a hold of one of those bad boys. But yeah, so I asked him to do the concept art of the character with the Burlap mask instead of the previous look I had. and he came up with this amazing sketch, and I was so floored by seeing a comic artist draw this character
Yeah.
that it changed my whole perspective of the story. And I was like, this film has been a nightmare, like one thing after the other. I'm like, what if I took my film script and retrofitted it into a comic script and found an artist and took my whole journey in a different path? And I did. And long story short, I did. And I finished the script. I turned it into the issue 1 instead of the short film. I put ads out for artists all over the internet, Craigslist, Indeed, Guru, the whole nine. And I had hundreds of people email me saying they were looking for the work and wanted to work on the book. They said it looked interesting. I had some scammers, try and take advantage. People sent me like Marvel and DC artists' work saying it was theirs, not realizing I'm a comic nerd. Like I know Jim Lee when I see it.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. And so I went through this whole process, and I met Zoran Jovicic. I butcher his last name every time, I'm sure. He's from Serbia, and me and him got along right off the bat. We decided to get to know each other as friends first before we went to any kind of business agreement. And we over like 2 weeks we got to know each other, and he's a great guy. And even to this day, after working with him for 2 years, I consider him to be a great friend. He's been there with me, even though he's across the ocean. Like, me and him have been through thin and thick together, just supporting each other, being there for each other. And he's just a fantastic artist and just a great guy. And that's where it all started. And we did issue 1. As soon as we finished issue 1, he's like, all right, issue 2. And I'm like, I gotta write a script now. So
we already have people saying that Rob Lethal needs to do an issue of Burlap. So we need to contact Rob and see what he can do about that.
See if he's free.
Yeah, see if he's free. Hopefully he'll do the indie comic creator discount.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for.
Well,
go ahead.
But yeah, so then, we pumped out volume 1. I joined Covenant Comics. They're a great group of guys, Jesse Chisholm and Judy Gonzalez. And I submitted Burlap to dozens and dozens of publishers. They were the only ones to really give me a chance. And yeah, since then, it's just been awesome. I love doing it. I love writing comics. I love the process of the creation of the art and all that stuff. And it's made me happier making comics than doing film ever did. So,
that's awesome to hear, the passion.
Oh yeah.
Have for it, because you have some people that are literally just doing it for the next dollar, and some people don't do things for the passion. And I can hear it in the voice. I'm sure everyone else can hear it too. I mean, you have other people that are saying stuff, and of course, Chris is saying that Burlap is the best horror book out, which I couldn't agree more. That is a very good book from what I've read so far. I can't wait to finish on I was finishing up number 3 and I have number 4 to go since I had got it early and I was reading it.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear what you think of it all.
I can't wait till the 90s trilogy. I cannot wait till that one. Speaking of that, when it comes to the rewards and for the Kickstarter, what other type of rewards? Well, we already know that we have the poster, we have the magnet, and I forgot the other type of rewards that you have.
As far as the stretch goals go, we did the 8x10 pinup by Jordan Beatty. It's the Burlap pinup. That was the first stretch goal, and then the second stretch goal was the magnet, the 90s Nightmare magnet. The number 3 was the sticker designed by Carl David Hewitt, and then number 4 is the Robert Nix poster.
That's what it is. So of course I can remember all of them, but I just know I'm just going to that one. I want that one, and I was super excited. I can't wait. I'm praying that we get number 5 opened up. So y'all, we need to get it, please. because I want my card. I want my card. Okay. So with that being said, with this campaign has gone so well since day one, because I've been watching since day one that it's on.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you literally feel every day. I'm just like, good Lord, they really love this
Yeah.
book. I'm like, this book must be good. So I
Thank
was
you.
reading and I said, I can understand why
Thank
he
you so much.
almost cleared up the whole thing in about what, almost a week or so. You almost got your whole thing done in about a day or so. But with that being said, after this campaign is over,
Hmm.
okay, and everything is done, an idea of what's next for Burlap.
Okay. Oh yeah, great question. So what we have next is, so the 90s Nightmare trilogy was really a way for me to kind of step away from the main storyline and just kind of have fun in the 90s and the early years of the character. And you'll see when you finish issue 4 what's in kind of in what we cliffhang of what's going to happen next. And what's happening next is Burlap Volume 2, which is titled Post Mortem.
Oh,
And issue and it's kind of like, I kind of treat my books almost like movies, where there's Burlap Volume 1, which would have been the first movie in the series, and then each volume following will have like its own title. So it's like Burlap Part 2 Post Mortem, and then Burlap Part 3, which has a title. So that's kind of the fun way I'm doing it, almost like slasher films where you have, Halloween, and you have Halloween: The Return of Michael Myers. So like those kind of fun titles. So Post Mortem is next. Issue 1 of Post Mortem, or I guess you would say issue 5 of Burlap, is written, and Zoran actually did some test pages where he took a couple pages from the script and did up maybe 4 or 5 pages, and it's looking fantastic. Once this Kickstarter ends, he can really go wild with Postmortem Part 1, and it really takes the story into a whole nother direction. It really evolves, and me and Boys of Covenant are actually talking about kickstarting issue 1 of Postmortem this fall. So if everything goes accordingly, Burlap will return to Kickstarter around Halloween. So
oh yes, we can make that happen. Trust me. I will go ahead and put you on the list for that. Oh yes, we can make that happen. Trust me, we can. Yes, you will return because that was actually going to be my next one. Is it going to be another Kickstarter? But you already said that. I was like, I'll be more than happy to have you back. Talk about the post mortem, and I
oh
love
yeah, absolutely.
also. Now, after if we talk about post mortem, that's next because we're left high. Are there any other projects that you're working on, or is there any opportunities that you eventually want to go into like a independent
Oh
movie
yeah.
or?
So with I would love one day to do the Burlap movie and to do it right, get a great budget behind it and a good team. That's probably very far off into the future, but my at least within the near future, maybe within a year or two, I would love to at least produce like a mock trailer where we pick certain
So,
scenes from the first volume, use the comic as storyboards, and just shoot like almost like how they did, like, the Robert Pattinson Batman trailer, something
oh
like
yeah,
given like a almost like a marketing tool to show production companies and producers and directors what Burlap is, and like kind of like my vision for what a film would be. So that's definitely something I would love to do in the future. Oh yes, and Chris Salhoff will absolutely play Burlap. We already established that.
he's already said he's like, I'll play Burlap Sydney
Yeah.
a man.
Oh,
I'm
well,
like,
we've spoken about it at length.
hey, that would be awesome. Look, hey, send me a mask. I'll play Burlap. I just love the mask. Trust me, I was highly upset I didn't get a mask. I
Yeah.
was upset. I was like, I'm up there checking your Instagram. I'm like, does he have a website? Can I see if he has any new
I was talking to the guys at
masks?
Covenant
Do
about
you
that,
have
about
any?
putting the bust on the website. So potentially they'll just be up for grabs on there down the road, which would be awesome.
Well, you have my Instagram. Please let me know down
Yes, I will. Absolutely.
a day so we can do that. So we're hoping that we do see this in the movies. This is movie material. This is something that
Thank
I
you.
will watch. Most definitely. For those of you who know me and just don't know as of yet, I'm a horror movie. So when you did the '90s Nightmare, Halloween, Michael Myers, um, back in the '90s, I love those old
Oh yeah,
'90s horror movies.
that's
Those
very
are the best
like
ones.
the whole what I always and actually somebody I forget who said it very recently on Instagram. Somebody commented and say they love how Burlap is like the Michael Myers of justice,
Yeah.
and I loved that little analogy because that's exactly kind of what it was. Because my goal was to take the slasher aesthetic of like Michael Myers and Jason and attribute that to a character akin to like the Punisher, or Batman kind of deal, and that really seems to be resonating, and it's all out of love
Oh
for
yeah.
those genres.
Yeah, and you can actually, as I was reading, I was like, I can see Batman Joker here. I love
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
I'm a big Joker fan too. That's one of my favorite
Me
villains.
too. Absolutely.
I love Joker. So with the please forgive me, I forgot the bunny's name. He
Cottontail.
horrified me. Cottontail.
Yeah.
He just horrified me. I'm like, okay, he got a little cottontail. I'm like, okay, that's neat. Next thing you know, he's slicing them. I'm like, oh wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
I
it's
was like, I was clapping as I was reading. I was like, that's my thing. We got Cocktail. He's gonna be one of those villains. That I'm like, okay, that's one of my favorites. But
thank
and the
you.
reason why I always say that is because no one ever really understands the backstory of why that person became a villain. Like they were like, this is just an idea. You have to come up with the origin of Cocktail. We have to know
Oh,
why
absolutely. That
how he became Cocktail. That would
that's
be
actually
awesome.
something where a real fun thing that me and JD and Jesse were talking about is down the road. We're big fans of DC Comics over at Covenant, and one of our favorite things is they do Year of the Villain. If you've seen those books where
Mhm.
they do like a Joker solo book,
Yeah,
and they do it, and
yeah,
so we came up with the idea of like down the road we would do a origin one shot of each of the depraved. And the
yeah,
depraved is that group that's Cottontail's like cult of
yeah.
serial killer lunatics, and to really dive into Cottontail's background and Bones's background, like what was going on with them that led them to where we see them in Burlap issue 1. And I actually have the first of that series planned out. Um, and even a logo was just recently put together for it that I'm very excited about. So we got a lot of that. There's just so much we can do with this big like rogues gallery that I've created, and I'm really excited for you guys to see all that and learn more about these characters. So
Yeah.
it makes me even more excited that you're so passionate about seeing more about these characters. So that makes me feel good and motivates me to get that stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially I was reading. I was and of course I was in the middle of work. I was multitasking, working and reading at the same time. So I have my iPad right here, and I have the computer typing. And I'm like reading and typing. So as I was reading, I can't think of the two names. There was a part in there where there was like a police officer, and they like did.
Oh yes, that's
So are
Stitches,
they like zombies
Stitches
or
and
something?
Staples.
Okay, this is a thing. I see. I like the name. Something simple, but it's like I don't want
Yeah.
stitches now.
Oh
or
yeah.
staples.
Oh yeah. Those two. That's basically like my whacked out version of like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, where like they're these little twin, bald, deformed guys, and they're cannibalistic whack jobs. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them. I had a lot of fun writing them. So yeah, I'm
Oh yeah.
glad those two caught your eye because
Oh
I
yeah.
really love those little bastards. Excuse me.
Those. That's okay. You're fine. Those two. Those two. I mean, they were. I was like, okay, yeah, I really like this type of horror. And then
Thank you.
burlap just come from the. It's it's funny because the burlap was in the dark. The pit bull went there, and the pit bull back off and like, oh. And of course, the Burlap just come from the shadows. I'm like, yes, this is good writing. Look
Thank
at this.
you.
Yes. I just kept reading. But I love it. Great book. So, with all of that being said, since the campaign is almost done, and you literally have about one day, long,
Yep.
one day to get into the 6,000. Come on, I want my card. Come on,
Yeah.
I want my card. I couldn't get the mask, at least let me get the card. But one day, and we already know what's going on after the campaign. Sure, hopefully, we're looking for some movie deals. Hopefully, that's coming in your way down the future. We are looking for that origin of Cottontail and the other two stitches and staples. We're looking for those. After all that being said, how can people find your project and also support you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The main way to see all the Burlap content, all the Covenant content, is on the Covenant Comics website. That's www.covenantcomics.com. We have an online store where everything is available, and we actually just started doing merch, which
Oh wow!
I've been wanting to do for forever, and we finally got that stuff on there. We got uh, hats, shirts, we got all kinds of great stuff. There's the Burlap shirts, there's Crossbones, Ether, there's coffee mugs, and of course all the issues of Volume 1 are available on there, digital and physical, as well as the Crossbones and Ether books. And as soon as all the 90s Nightmare stuff is printed and to me so I can ship it all out, we're going to put that on the website as well. So each issue of the trilogy, including Hammer on Anvil, Death Waits for No One, No Rest for the Wicked, all three will be available as comics, and we also got the 90s Nightmare trade paperback, which will also be available there. So if people don't get a chance to back the Kickstarter over the next day, it will absolutely be available, and I have all that information. I update very regularly on the Instagram, on Facebook. Instagram is the main way I reach out to the followers, the supporters, the fans. So that's really the best way to check it out at Burlap Comics or at Covenant Comics. They keep everybody updated on what's going on and what's available. So yes, that's the main way to check it all out.
Question. That's one thing. Like a master burlap cover that covers you.
Oh, like a pandemic mask.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
maybe some money. There you go.
Yeah. You ever read just like a
Yeah, so just that part right there.
I don't know if people would react to that in public, but
Please, you ought to see some of the other masks I've seen in public.
oh, trust me, I work in a hospital. I've seen all sorts.
Some of them actually have a picture of their actual face, and it looks so weird. I'm just
Oh,
like,
that's
no,
I don't know if I think that. No,
no.
I mean I read some weird stuff, but that I saw that.
Yeah, that's like House of a Thousand Corpses type. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't do that. I don't,
eyes wide shut kind of nonsense.
I don't do that. But now, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was saying that's some kind of eyes wide shut nonsense.
Yes,
In your own
yes.
on your face.
Yeah, I seen this woman. It was actually on a TV show. She actually had one made of her exact face, and when she puts it on, it's the same skin complexion. It looks like it's her mouth, but when she takes it off, the lipstick and everything is the same. It's like that's very weird looking.
Yeah.
I don't, I
And
don't, I don't.
the amount of effort you got to put into that too.
Yeah, I mean, you had to pay some serious money for that, but
Mhm.
that was just crazy right there. But Jesse, let me just go ahead and say it was awesome talking to you. I want to thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank
I
you.
want everyone, not a problem, not a problem. We want everyone out there to remember you have one
One
day,
day.
go and get all your birthday comics, and you have the digital, you have the physical. I got the digital and the physical one, but I am gonna come back and get the physical of 1 through 4 because I like to have it in my hand after I've read it. But we have one day to get it down, and he has one more that needs to unleash. We all want that card. Gotta give them 6,000. As of right now, I checked you were at like five thousand
Yeah,
five hundred
we just hit 5,500. That unlocked the most recent.
Uh-huh.
And let me just do a very quick. And we actually just hit 5,543. So
Yeah, 5,543. We just
we're getting
like
there.
we're getting there. So hopefully by tomorrow morning you'll be making that announcement that we hit it. I'm so excited. I'm gonna look. You're gonna see me. I'm gonna do a picture of me screaming like a little 16-year-old girl. That's all you're gonna
There
see
we
me
go.
doing right there. But yeah. But yes, I am so excited. We thank you for coming on Kickstarter Connections, the first show. Thank you for being my first guest. Make sure you all hit the Kickstarter, get him up to 6,000. Make sure that you also follow him at Burlap_Comic, and also you said at Covenant Comic. Also, where you can get all the other information and go to their store. What's the website again for the store, Jack?
That's covenantcomics.com.
CovenantComics.com. And go and do what I'm getting ready to do. Go and get some merch. Hopefully you got some sweatshirts and shirts. And I'm gonna be walking some burlap on there like that. But this is the end of the show. We thank you all for joining us. Jesse, we thank you again for being there. And like I always say, stay positive, stay negative.